Welcome to Just a Thought, a podcast for misfits who've turned self-reflection into a lifestyle. Around here, we get into the messy stuff, mental health, connection, and the daily chaos of being a human. It's kind of like therapy, but with some sarcasm and fewer co-pays. I'm your host, Purple Energy, and every week we'll obsess over one subject we know best, ourselves. Because if you're going to spiral, why not make it about yourself? This is Just a Thought.
Today, we will be exploring Black love, what it means to be protected, strengthened, and nourished by this type of love that is rooted in joy and spontaneity. Bell Hooks famously wrote, "When we love, we can let our hearts speak." I love that quote. If you know me, you know I love love. Love is me and I am love. And Black love has been very controversial over the years, from slavery to segregation to systematic oppression to now surviving social media. Everywhere we turn, people are talking about Black love, how beautiful it is, how radiant it is, how resilient it is. And other times people are like, well, white love, they're going against it. Latino love, Indian love. It's like, hold on, people. We're not saying nothing is wrong with love. I think that for Black folks, we specify Black love because for centuries, they have been trying to dismantle the family dynamic within the Black community. So when we say Black love, it is no disrespect to any other nationality, but it is to put respect, honor, and integrity on the value of Black love that we within our own communities shouldn't even have to justify. We should not have to show the value in it when we know that systematically other nationalities have been trying to tear us down for centuries, whether it is taking our men out of the homes, whether it is lack of education, whether it is lack of resources, you name it. But one thing about Black love, it has been resilient and has stood the test of time. We continue to see the grace and the elegance of this love through public figures like Michelle and Barack Obama. When these two got into office, baby, it was as if God himself came down and kissed the earth. Everybody was in such glee to watch these two beautiful people hold such a high and honorable position and represent our people well and their family dynamic well and what it looks like to have a healthy, strong, radiant Black family. You see that with the Washingtons. Denzel does not go on an interview without giving respect and paying homage to his wife, Pauletta Washington. That man will say, I am the best actor because of this woman, for her being a mother, for her sacrifice, keeping the family together. He understands that value of what his wife brings. She is not just some little housewife that lives up in the Beverly Hills, honey. Pauletta probably out there going to all the soccer meetings, going to all the rehearsals. She's the educator and the nourisher. And then yet she is still the one who was loving on her husband. So shout out to you, Pauletta, just making it look so graceful. I love seeing how we get to see beautiful public figures within the Black community just grace the stage with their own characteristics. And Spike Lee is definitely one of those people. That man is very creative and you see him, he has all kind of different glasses on. His style is always fresh to death, and he is a true Brooklyn native. Whether the Knicks is losing or winning, he gonna be out there on the court acting a fool, and his wife, Tanya, gonna be right there by his side. Okay. You know what I love about this couple as well? The women, this is for y'all, okay? Listen up. We always tell God we want a man who is 6'1", and he has all these different attributes. Spike Lee, 5'6". His wife is actually taller than him, okay? So, any of y'all that's listening, you might need to stop putting a height requirement on Boaz, honey, and take him as he is, because he might not have the height, but he may have all the other attributes that you're looking for. You might want to pull back. Hello? Because these are things that could be changed over time. But within our community, we see the elegance of that, right? We have seen them go through all these different ebbs and flows through life, and they have represented our culture so proudly. And letting you know that it's not always about the elegance and grace, that Black love can stand through any weather. Just when you think the Black woman no more strength, honey, she comes up, woof, it feels like Superwoman for sure, right? She pulls up out of her strength, out of that, and gives you something that she didn't even know she had. I love that for my girl Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Miss Union is a powerhouse all on her own outside of her husband. They had a moment where they took a break. And in that break, while she was filming one of the best shows to date, Mary Jane, he was off frolicking and soaring his royal oaks with some lady. He made a conscious decision to have unprotected sex. And from that, the consequences was a baby. Now, I know, just like the rest of you, everybody was shouting, leave that man. Okay? This is Gabrielle Union. She needs no man. But Miss Union made a very bold decision for herself and for her family to stay with her husband and to reconcile. We don't know the behind the scenes. We only know what the tabloids gave us, right? We don't know the counseling session she had, the community of people that was around her. We don't know if she was hollering and screaming and cutting that man up every chance that she got. He just is like, well, I'm going to have to sit here and let her cut. Okay. We don't know if he held her when she cried and asked, why did you do this to me? We don't know. There are many unknown variables to the public. But what we do know that is most important is that although he has made a public mistake that changed his family dynamic, they weathered the storm and came out on top stronger, better than probably the beginning of their journey. I love that for them. I love that for Black culture because it lets us see that life is not so cookie cutter where it is perfect and there's no arguments, there's no fights, there's no disagreements, there is no moments of bumps in the roads. We are just gliding on by as if nothing has ever happened. This gives us some real time to show us that no matter what you are going through in your relationship, that you too can make it through. Snoop Dogg and Shantae is another testament to that. Shouts out to Snoop because this man has been in the game for since the 90s and still out here making his money, doing his thing and supporting his family. We have now seen him involved and Shantae involved into being grandparents. And I love that for them because they had a rough patch back in 2004 when this man decided that he wanted to divorce his wife. Now I'm sitting back watching on TV this pop up across the news that he is leaving his wife because he want to go out there and just be single and do his thing. And I'm like, this fool need to take his ass back home. What the hell he doing? We don't know if Shantae bust out his windows. We don't know if Shantae called her homegirls. We don't know if she bleached his clothes. All we know is that after his hiatus, which he had made very public, he turned around and made an even bigger public apology. And I love that for him. Because that man was like, I am not going to shame my wife by saying I want to divorce her publicly. I'm going to speak even loudly of the volume of my love for her. And came back to his family and made things right. That shows you that you don't need to know the details, but you can have this rough patch. You may be a woman going through a midlife crisis and realize, hold on, I only had this one person that I had sexual encounters with. This is my only experience. And you may decide, I don't want to be here at this moment. I want to leave his ass with these kids and I want to go out there and know what sex feels like with another person. You may be a man and feel like, you know what? I have always had the responsibility of maintaining a household and a family. I want to know what it's like to just do something for myself and still find your way back to each other after having that moment of a break because we don't know what life pressures that one may go through that causes them to say, hey, in this moment, I just need it to be about me and no one else. Yes, people will sit there and say it's selfish. Maybe, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just that person taking time for themselves, which they have given themselves permission to do and decided in this moment, I just need it to be about me. It's not about being better on the other side of any of those things. It's just in this moment, I need to feel something, whether it's love, whether it's reassurance, whether it is just not having a level of responsibility because life be lifing, y'all. And when it be lifing, the hell, even I be wanting to run out on these responsibilities today. I don't want to be an adult. It's too hard. Sometimes that just, it happens, you don't want to have to deal with it. You want to have a day where you wake up and you not have obligations or responsibilities or somebody pulling and nipping on you, requiring something from you that you are unsure of how to give yourself, But he came back. They came back and they're stronger because of that. And now we are watching them enter one of the biggest moments of life, which is being grandparents. Mind you, I don't even have kids and I look forward to being a grandparent. Okay. I think it's the most weirdest thing. But I do. I be in here talking to my womb like, okay, listen, kids, when y'all have kids, just bring it on to home to mama because I want us to be right there. I want to be all up in it. I want to make sure that my grandbabies are raised in a way that is filled with so much love, not only from their parents, but they feel love from my husband and I, right? They get the values and tools that I taught their parents, but I get to hand deliver it to them. That to me holds so much honor and value. So yes, I don't even have kid number one yet, but I still do look forward to being a grandparent. So shout out to them, honey, because they made it through a very tumultuous time. And that's not easy to do. It's not easy to be in the limelight and be scrutinized for every small thing that one may go through and then have to live a regular life. We forget that these people are humans. They're just on a TV, and just because that's their job, it doesn't mean that we have total access all the time of what they are doing in their day-to-day lives. LL Cool J and Simone Smith, they even had a moment where she was ready to leave this man. She got tired of his shit. She wanted to leave. Simone wanted to dismiss the fortune, the fame, and all of that because this woman was there with him before he became LL Cool J. The ladies love LL. She was there before all of that. Okay, we don't know if her village around her came and prayed with her and say, "Hey, this is a tough moment that you guys are having, and we just want to check in on you and make sure you okay. How you dealing with the situation?" We don't know what the brothers around him said. Hey, you need to get your shit together. You're about to lose your family. We don't know the voices that help them to stay, but also the choices that they themselves had to make individually to fight to get through that hurdle, to recommit to one another and to stay in the fight. That's hard. That's hard to see somebody break your trust over and over again. You feel like, you know what, if I continue this behavior, it's hurting me in the process, right? We are women, we are nurturers. We internalize the pain and the heartbreak and the disloyalty that our mates perform. We internalize it very deeply. That weighs on a woman's spirit heavily more so than a man, I think, because we are spiritually connected to them. And that's a whole nother level. So shout out to them for making it and for Simone to have her own identity outside of her husband. When you walk into Kohl's, you see Simone brand. You see her home goods. You see her earrings. You see the goods that she been doing. That baby been out here getting her own coin, okay? So shout out to her for being a boss chick all on her own. Sometimes you get those celebrities that when they go through a hard time, baby, they make some of the greatest hits, and I do mean great hits, that we rock and listen to this day because there is nothing more phenomenal than a good beat and some words of heartache on top of that, okay? And we are talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce. Lemonade album was produced out of some of those tracks was produced out of that man's infidelity. And the Beehive wanted to know who the hell was Becky with the good hair, honey. They was chasing down every meme, every small little intricate detail on social media to find out who the hell is this woman, baby. But through that situation, his infidelity was not known to the public. We didn't find out until she wrote a song. I appreciate them for being honest, and they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to let us know that they had that kind of marital indiscretions. They could have kept it quiet and nobody would have knew nothing. But they wanted to connect with their fans on a humanistic level, and that's always through music, through their art. And so that's how they was able to share with the world what was going on versus paparazzis spinning the narrative. What a great way to actually have control over when and how things are released, because that shows you not everybody should be in your business. You should have some level of autonomy of when and how and who you will release information to. because not everybody deserves to hear your down moments. Some people will hear you living in the trenches of love, and they would be like, "Girl, you better leave that boy," or they be like, "Bruh, yo, she a hoe, leave her." Like a friend of mine's, legit. I honestly feel like he's in mourning, and you know how men are. They don't like to get into their emotions and their feelings. But his college sweetheart, I really do feel like um, the reason why he didn't forgive her for infidelity was because his boys was in his ear and saying to him like, you a good looking dude, da 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 da, you don't need her, yada yada yada, doing all that dumb shit they was talking, giving him the wrong advice. You know, funny thing was when he was going through it, he never told me that they had infidelity. I just put two to two together and was like, okay, is this a situation? And he was like, how you know? I was like, buddy, I know you. One. Two, the way you just cut her off so swift, okay, that was hello, the signs was there. But more importantly, why didn't you tell me that this was the situation? He was like, how'd that make me look as a man to come and tell you that this happened to me? I was like, human. What do you mean? How does it make you look? You're human, are you not? He was like, I'm a man. I said, and what does that mean? That men don't get cheated on? What does that mean? I'd rather you had told me what happened than you had told your boys because look, you're no longer with this person and you really love this woman. Couldn't you have just stepped outside of your feelings in that moment and evaluate what it is that you really wanted and allow love to do the talking for you? Not your emotions, because your boys, they spoke to how you was feeling in that moment, which was your emotions. They spoke to your manhood, right? They spoke to the patriarchy of what it is to be a man. They didn't speak to the human, you, the person, you, the individual behind the scene of this facade of masculinity. That's what you would have got with me. So I said, whether you believe it or not, you intentionally didn't tell me because you wanted somebody to agree with you while you was in your mess. He started laughing. He was like, you always doing that thing that you do. I'm like, yeah, you know I'm telling the truth. But see, that goes to show you that love can stand the test of time. And sometimes love could just get to a point where I can love you, but I got to let you go. And that happens sometimes. It doesn't mean that love is lost. It just means that in this moment, the violation or the act that you have committed against me, I don't want to be a part of. And so I'm making the decision to choose me in this moment and not you. Guess what? That's okay. You know, it is your life, it is your relationship, and no one has the right to say yay or nay. But it goes to show you that when you move and operate out of love, that no matter how hard, difficult times may be, there's always going to be a release. The sun is going to shine again, and you're going to see the beauty of your relationship evolve. People think that pain is like, oh my gosh, yes, it's unbearable, sure. But you think that you're not going to overcome it, and you can if you continue to work and move through the process. You can't say, I forgive this person, and then you want to be cussing them out and going on. You can't say, I forgive her, and then every time she going somewhere, you check on her phone. Like, you have to relinquish trust. You have to relinquish the love that you have in this person instead of trying to hold on to it so tightly. And that's what I love about Black love. It's very forgiving, very forgiving. Sometimes too much so. We will forgive ourselves into an oblivion, you know? You don't need it. It's just like, baby, you gotta cut folks off. But that goes to show you the power of it. The reason why Black love has been able to stand the testament of time definitely is rooted in community. I don't mean today, because today, I don't know what's going on in community. But community back then was what helped us as a people, as a culture, continue to move through the toughest of times. We had a place, a refuge, a village of people that would speak and pour life, okay? As you've been listening to me, you know that anytime I'm on here talking, I'm talking about the experiences that I had with my village of people. Why? Because it was their wisdom that guided me from a child into my adulthood. That's the value of community, that you may not always have the answer or the words or the encouragement, but somebody else can pour into you, and you can allow those words to seep into your roots to get nourishment. Just like a plant allows water to seep down and nourish the roots, you have the option of doing that when you are in community. Community is so beautiful. Also, that community is platonic love. It's friendship love. We see that in Gail and Oprah. When I say I love these women, they are a true example of what it is like to be in a healthy community with your friend. Oprah will say on the red carpet, "Oh, I love Gail. She did so and so and so." And Gail will go, "Oh, I love Oprah. She was there for so and so and so and so." These women use the word "I love you" out loud in interviews, and no one even blink or bat an eye. And I'm here for it. These are two sisters, too, mind you. Okay, nobody is questioning their friendship. Nobody don't even dare think about like, did y'all have a fight? They don't want to lose their job. Okay, they wouldn't even dare. But you see the power in the community that they have amongst one another. Also, Tashia Campbell, aka Gina, and Tashina Arnold, aka Pam, have been friends since they were 12 years old. They met at an audition, and these women have supported one another throughout the years, and they are still best friends. Getting matching BMWs and everything back in the day. Having healthy community is vital and has been vital within the Black community, and it has allowed it to thrive. It doesn't mean that you don't have fallouts with your best friend or your sister. When people are close to me, I normally don't say this is my best friend. I normally give you a family value in my life because that lets me know in you that you hold value in my space. So I'll give somebody like, "Oh, this is my big sister." That's just how I roll, honey. People in my family, we be adopting strangers and they just be, come on. My aunt is famous for saying when you feed them, they'll start to look like you. And it's on both sides of my family, my father's side and my mother's side, but more heavily on my mother's side. My mother family, legit. You can be a complete stranger, you know, working with my mother's mother, and she'd be like, "This cousin so and so." I'm like, "Oh, now what uncle had this child?" "Oh no, I was working for so and so and I met them at the job and she ain't got no family, so we just adopted. It's our adopted cousin." I be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know these people." Like, it just come and be like, "Oh, okay, sit down, please, all right." I mean, she be for real too, so much so that years later, I had asked my aunt, "What happened to Uncle Dave?" They was like, first of all, Dave died. One. Two, Dave was not our real uncle. He met your grandmother at her job, and that was her job friend, and she just adopted. I was in here shocked. If their last name ain't my last name, then I know they ain't related to me, okay? Because they just legit taking people. They be taking in folks, But again, that is how, and it doesn't mean that it's perfect, because let me tell you, it be dysfunctional for real, okay? But it is okay because I understand that that's just how they are, and you learn to accept that. And Salt and Pepper is an example of that. Like, they had a show a couple of years ago, and they mentioned that the reason why the group fell apart was because they was having friendship issues. That's the reason why they dismantled the group. It took them years of therapy to get back into a healthier place with one another. We got to see that in a show. And that goes to show you that there's moments in life where you will have an off season with your friend. Maybe you two are going in two different directions and you may need to take time apart. And that's okay. If it comes back, it is meant to be. If it's not, it's not. But in Salt and Pepper case, it was. We got to see the blossom of the new, healthier version of their relationship. I'm pretty sure they're stronger now because of it. Love is not about avoiding. Love is about facing. Our ancestors prior to us, they had to face a lot of things whether they want to or not. It was through the strength of community that they were able to look in the eyes of another human being that looked like them and find a place of refuge. I know this topic on community is hard for a lot of you because one, your family probably has passed away. Two, could this have been years of dysfunction and abuse? Three, there's been mistrust. Four, you no longer feel safe in that environment. I understand that is tough. I feel for you if that's what you're going through within your community. But do know that your community is your choice. It doesn't have to be the people that raised you, that grew up with you. Your community are the people who you make outside as well. So understand that that is still available for you and that it is attainable. So don't give up on love. Love not only in romantic relationships, but love in general, platonically. Because love comes in many multifaceted forms, and you have to keep yourself open to that. But it first starts with loving yourself. Loving yourself is so important. It is so important because when you love yourself and give yourself permission to love yourself, you allow for the chains to be broken off of you of other people's expectations. And that's why Black love has stood the test of time, because we have loved ourselves individually. We have loved ourselves collectively as a body, a whole, as one unit moving with the same rhythm. Every time that we show up like that, we continue to defeat the odds no matter what is thrown at us. And so, in order for this next generation to continue with the legacy that has been passed down to us, we have to make choices that are healthy, that we are aware of, that are not moved based on emotions. We have to get back to the root of a thing and stop going in with the expectation of what can I take, what can I get. Because when they started the civil rights movement, it wasn't what I can get, it was what we collectively can get and how this affects all of us. So I don't say don't love yourself to love somebody before you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying love yourself first, because when you do, you're going to always look through a lens of we, because your cup is full off of yourself and you're living off of abundance to other people. And that's the beauty of love. Love can be stretched and expanded at any time if you so choose. I hope that Black love continues to thrive and win. I look forward to the next generation adding to what our ancestors have given us, that we can have even better education systems, better communities, healthier family dynamics, and learning how to navigate the dysfunction and not doing the thing that Big Mama and them did, which was, child, that's cousin so-and-so, we gotta let them be. It's more so today of, no, let's check cousin so-and-so, okay? We gonna do that in grace, but letting them know we ain't having that, okay? Because we cannot continue to go down the path of bad behavior and we just gonna sweep it under the rug because that's cousin so-and-so. But we have things that we can build on, and we have things that we can change because we have been given intellect to know what's right and what's wrong and to make better choices for ourselves. So I'll leave you with this question. What stories about love have you inherited, and which ones do you want to rewrite for yourself?
That's it for this week's episode of Just a Thought. Thank you for thinking out loud with me. If something hit home, made you laugh, or made you feel just a little less alone, share it with a fellow misfit. And remember, your thoughts aren't always real, but they are worth exploring. Until next time, keep obsessing responsibly.